In this video, we're going to focus on the toolbar that exists on the right-hand side of OROWindMap. You can see that I've already turned on just a couple of different data layers for this demonstration. These are military operating area boundaries, as well as groundfish biodiversity maps for predicted probabilities of biomass hotspots. If I take a look at my Legend tab, I can see that the polygons with a black outline are the military operating boundaries, and the colorful areas represent the predicted probabilities of biomass hotspots. The first icon on the right represents a print export function. As of April 2022, this is still under construction. So for the time being, if you would like to create a still or a static image of a map or drawing that you have created on OROWindMap, I would recommend using a screenshot function on your web browser or your computer. I am going to jump to this icon, which says share this map. So this is going to give us a URL or an option to embed a map if you would like to share these active data layers with somebody else. Beneath that is a linear measurement tool. I'm going to click once to start a vertex. I'm going to click twice in order to complete that line. So this gives me a linear measurement. It's important to note that if I click again to draw another line, that first line is going to disappear. So this is a snapshot tool. If you would like to save a line or a point or a polygon, it's important that you use the new drawing function. So beneath the linear measurement tool is an area measurement tool. Again, I'm going to go ahead and click twice to complete that shape. It's going to give me an area measurement. And as I just said, if I click again to make a new shape, it's actually going to replace the one that I just created. So if I want to make sure I'm saving a shape or a line, I go to the icon below that says New Drawing. As a reminder, you can also access the ability to create a new drawing under the My Planner tab. I'm going to choose, in this case, Draw Shape. And I'm just going to make a random shape. Go to Next. I'm just going to call this Shape 1 and say Testing Shape. So now that's been saved. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And I'd like to share a very important step if I want to share a URL to this page that includes my drawing and not just the active data layers. Because this drawing is saved to my personal account, I need to go to this gear icon and select Share. Here, you'll see the groups that I'm a part of, and you'll also see this checkbox that says Share with Public. It's important that I check that checkbox and choose Share, so that if I'd like to, go ahead and share this URL with someone, that drawing is actually going to be included. And that's something that can be really important for something like a public comment process. The last thing that I'd like to show you on this toolbar is this option that says Add an ArcRest layer. So all the layers that exist on OROWindMap are not actually hosted or published by OROWindMap. We connect to different web services for layers that are publicly available on the internet. In the case that you're looking for a specific layer that exists as a REST service that we don't have on OROWindMap, you can go ahead and add it in yourself for a particular session. It's important to note that OROWindMap will not save any layers that you add for use in the future, so you will need to keep track of those services or those URLs if you would like to include them in the future. In this case, I have already got an example layer in mind, so I'm going to go ahead and copy that URL. This is from Marine Cadastre. It's a 2017 vessel transit count layer for passenger vessels. It is actually a layer that we do have on OROWindMap, but I'm just adding it here for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and call that vessel transit count, passenger 2017. And now there are these help icons when you're adding an ArcRest layer. This is just going to explain that the layer name is what's going to show up in your navigation panel. And this is going to help you make sure that you're getting the right endpoint for an external ArcGIS server. So what you will find most commonly is the suffix that says map server, and that's going to tell you that you're in the right spot. So you can see the one that I've pasted does have that map server suffix. And you can see where there are instructions here where I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add / export to the end of that URL. Now there's this spot to add an ID. This is the page where I got that URL for my endpoint. And you can see when I look at AIS vessel transit counts 2017 passenger, there's a 0 in parentheses. That indicates to me that 0 is the ID that I'm looking for, so I'm going to add that. If you click help, there's also an explanation about where to find the correct ID. It also tells me that if I want to add more than one layer from the same endpoint, I can actually do so by using commas instead of adding those layers independently. So I'm going to go ahead and click submit. And you should notice that this layer that represents those AIS vessel transit counts went ahead and came up on my screen. So if I go to active, you can see it's not going to have this information button because it's not connected to our catalog, but it is going to show me that layer that I've input. So one final reminder that adding your own REST service layers is a session-based tool. So those layers are not going to be automatically saved to your account. It's something that you will need to add back in for future uses. That's all for today. See you soon on OROWindMap.